And how are we doing today? Sat here and saw some people. Down Under Maker getting in there first. Thank you. Mad Dog. Oh no, it's Mike. Acidify Studios. Caleb. Gergman, how y'all doing? Mike, are you still? If you're still here, type something in the chat and I'll show you the hair tie that we're doing today. But the Mountain Dew for the day is standard Mountain Dew because the gas station I stopped at had options of this one or that terrible Mountain Dew Dirty, and no, I will not do that one again. Cool little thing that my partner found. Sour Bright Crawlers, Mountain Dew flavor.
Disagree. They are not cool.
James doesn't think they taste like it, but they are pretty accurate to the flavor of Mountain Dew.
Nope.
Other big thing, James and I have been hard at work today. We actually have a new mic. So, if you guys can give us feedback on how that sounds, that would be really appreciated.
Knowing me, it probably sounds awful because that's how I work, but that's all right.
But hopefully this should take care of the echoing situation and everything, the delay, because it's now a hardwired mic. And I can move around now without having to worry about wireless interference.
To a certain extent, it is only a shotgun mic, so can't go too far away, which you won't be able to be heard.
Give a few people a bit more time to come on in here. Got 5 votes in so far on the poll. Yep, we definitely have a bit of a project ahead of us today. All right, so Acidify says we both sound good. And Gergman, James agreed with your comment before, about the poll question. Because, Voron is, Russian for Raven, so in Soviet Russia, Voron finish you. Caleb, it's a good thing you have a pulse. I'd be kind of worried if you're sitting here typing without a pulse. At that point, we'd have to sit here and go Walking Dead and be like, okay, time to start the apocalypse.
Can confirm my pulse is active.
Yep, there it is. Yep, I hit the wrong spot first. And then, of course, I've got the red head, so, they sit here and say, gingers don't have souls, and I sit here and reply, hey, that is not true. Gingers have plenty of souls. Every freckle on our body is a soul we've stolen. But that being said, give it another minute here. Let people come on in. I've got some new tools today to use, so that's going to be a fun thing. And Caleb, to answer your question, we started this channel with a Voron build. So, yeah, if you go back and look at our first streams, that was building a Voron. Mike, there we go. So, let's see. Can we get the top down, James? We got the blue and white today. I'm not that pale, Gergman. I technically my partner's the vampire. They're certified phlebotomist. Let's go ahead and in this poll, about even, but 57% of you sit here and say, hey, a Voron is never really finished. Caleb, you get a fine tune and an enraged rabbit. That sounds fun. But, you know, we said here in today's stream, we're going to be finishing a Voron. So let me go ahead and get that for us. So we have our Voron, and what I'm going to do on this today is I'm going to fix one of Down Under Maker's biggest gripe on Voron, because he is very big on not running your Pi 4s and Pi 5s off of the GPIO headers for the 5 volt. So what I've done is I've actually picked up one of the LDO compact power supplies. Now, when they said this thing was compact, I was sitting here expecting like, oh, look, you know, it's going to be a little bit smaller than the standard beam well that comes with a Voron, you know, and everything. Then I sat here and opened it. And let me grab the thing that Howie gave us. Our banana for scale. Each of those squares is 10 millimeters. So one centimeter. And this thing is tiny. So what we're going to be doing, replacing the power supply that's in here with this compact one, because on this one we have both a 5 volt and a 24 volt rail, as well as we can daisy chain. We can bring our line in and then take a line out for things like the heater bed. But with this, these do have the screw down terminals. So what we're going to be doing to power the Pi is we have this little piece right here. It's a little pigtail. It's got USB-C on one end and then just the power connectors on the other. Now, you notice these aren't ferruled. Well, you can just take these and strip them back and put them into those crimp downs and crimp them on. You know, they could shift around and eventually become loose. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get this thing set up so that way we can get it into the power supply here and then get it installed in the V0. Now, this particular V0, turn it upside down here real quick. With this one, I did not build this one. I actually found this one online and, you know, decided, hey, I'm going to take it and show what happens when you have one that's already built. And then what you know, possibly some of the problems that could come up because, hey, you didn't build it. So this is the power supply that it came with, and you can see
you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about.
Yeah, there is a pretty big difference in size on these two. So we're going to have to get this out of here and get this in here. But unfortunately, with the way that these are mounted, which I have not looked to see how this is mounted yet, I'm going into this blind, just like you guys are. So I'm going to have to see how this is actually mounted in here. And then we're going to redo our cabling for this. But LDO does have a low profile thin rail bracket that you can print out. There are heat sets that go in the corner. That way, when this is on it, you can screw through into those heat sets and actually have it attached to the mount with screws. And then you mount your DIN rail holders onto this little low profile bracket. That way it doesn't raise it up too much. Something I'll warn, because I printed it both ways, the way that LDO sends the STL is actually up on the side like this. And when I did that, you know, you're getting all these overhangs and everything. I actually rotated these so that they'd be flat on the plate and actually came out with a much nicer print. There's actually a bit more reinforcement around the screw holes that way. So if you do print it, I would recommend taking it from the vertical position that LDO puts it in by default and flipping it to the horizontal does give a much nicer finish. And because it can go around those screw holes and create a perimeter around those, you get a nice perimeter there, but you're still not going where the pressure that's going on here is going to go with the layer line. So let's go and see how this power supply is held in here. So I'm going to stand up here real quick. Honestly, I did not build this, and this is one of those things that you run into if you go out and buy one. You might run into things where it's like you're having to figure out what they did to get this on. Now, going through here, I don't see a way that this would be connected.
I sure hope not, Mike. I sure hope not.
Let's see here. Yeah, Mike, I hope it's not VHB tape. Because if it's VHB tape, that is going to be a fun one to get out. But it seems pretty low and tight to be VHB tape. But then again, the only thing I feel moving when I move it back and forth is the base plate. So it may actually be VHB taped on. Let's see here. You want to add a purge wipe to the V0. Is that something I'm considering online? So this one, not yet. This one has some other mods on it. Like it actually has the NeoPixel panels on the side, which, you know, were available for a while, but then stopped being there. Let's see here. Well, Down Under Maker, we're going to try to get this to the point where it is not running off the 24 volt on here. Or it's not, the high isn't running off the GPIO pins. But, I mean, Down Under, the title of the stream was we're going to finish a Voron. I didn't say that Voron. I didn't say a 2.4. I just said a Voron. But we may not even do that today, because I need to sit here and figure out how this thing is even connected. So we're going to cut off the zip tie that's holding our screen cable in. And just so I don't damage the connector, unplug our screen there. Let's see here. Dental floss, I do not know if I have any of that because we use the dental picks here. But even if I had some of that, it'd still be quite difficult getting in there because the little raceway is actually right up against the power supply. But let me go see if I still have some of the old dental floss around. I shall be right back.
That means I have to entertain you guys. I don't want to do that. I don't like any of you. That's not my job. I'm just kidding. You all are fantastic. Now that he's actually out the door, y'all are great. Don't let him know that I told you that. see. I personally think he could just pull it off. Sheer strength. If not him, then who? Someone can pull it off. The fun part is watching the struggle. Yeah, and to be fair, we did just say we are finishing a Voron. We never specified which Voron we're finishing. Down under, you can't let him see that. You gotta delete that message before he comes back. Oh, here he comes. You better delete that message down under before he sees it.
All right. No dental floss, but my partner is a seamstress, so I happen to have thread. So we're going to try this.
You have fishing line? That'd probably be strong.
Let's see here. Alex, yep, we have a V0 here. Okay, so I'm just working on getting this up under the power supply here.
It wasn't my idea to gaslight you guys, by the way. That I don't take credit for that. That was not on me. I did aid in it after he told me to, but it was not my idea.
He is complicit.
Perfect, Down Under. I don't think he saw that message. Good job.
All right. See if I just need to get this back corner under here.
So, if you can't do this, do you even have a backup plan for stream?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out. This is an interesting roadblock to hit so early on.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? But this is one of the things you run into when you didn't build it. It may be nice and tempting to sit here and be like, oh yeah, look, someone's selling one of these nice and cheap on Facebook Marketplace or something. But
I mean, I think it was still worth it, to be honest with you.
Nope, and that just broke.
Do you have any fishing line?
That I don't know. I don't think so. How you doing, Pat? Yep, so just tape to plastic. Here. Yeah. Oh. So, believe it or not, for this, I got this entire thing for 300 and fully completed, fully set up with the extra panels, with a Pico Billicle, so it had some extra stuff onto it, and it actually prints.
Trying your darndest to upgrade it.
Yeah.
Let's see if it happens.
I am just trying to get this thing upgraded now. Okay. Get some isopropyl up under here.
Careful now, not too much. Don't want it to kill the thing. Oh, that was a lot.
Get this up under there to get to that VHB tape.
Remember the story of why the guy was selling it?
Yeah, his he and his son originally built it, and they had built a bigger one. They weren't really using this anymore, and his son, well, he still had an interest in it. His son had moved out and gone to college, so he was just trying to downsize. So I picked it up.
I wish I had that kind of money to just kind of give away.
All right, so what I'm going to do here now, just to make this a bit easier on myself,
You don't have like a flat pry tool or anything?
I'm going to take the skirts off. And get the skirts off, that way I can get a bit more access to it. And maybe I can see some more. And I already learned there was an extra drop-in nut in here, because it has one for the fan that doesn't actually have fans in it. But there was actually two drop-in nuts underneath the fan portion, so it only uses one screw. Take these skirts off here.
Is that what he said?
Here we keep our screws with the skirts. All right, so now I have better access. All of this. I recommend you're the drop-in nut this stream. Well, I don't know about drop-in, but I would say you're pretty nutty. Okay. Looking, it does not look like there is. Yep, I'm definitely thinking now that it is VHB taped in. So,
And apparently that's pretty standard for V0s.
yep. Use some tricks that I used to use when you get a TV stuck to a glass table. I'm just getting like a zip tie or something under there just to break the seal. Yeah, down under, I would definitely say that is a need for better support. Either that or you're a Scottish
How old do you think we are?
That or you're a Scottish Highlander. Well, we're definitely getting up under the thing. I'm hearing it starting to let go. Keyword starting. I don't have. My fixing kit does not have sputters. My kit. Just the regular one. I think we left the other one back at the other studio. Yay. Yeah, let's try raising the desk here some.
We have the technology. I mean, I suppose you could use hot air.
If I had hot air.
Well, that's part of it, but also I feel like getting so much hot air close to the other electronics wouldn't be that great, and even if we did have some way to do hot air, I don't think it would be controlled enough.
But with a bit of perseverance and a zip tie, use that zip tie. I know that that zip tie is now under that VHB tape. Get kind of up under. It'd be really nice if I could sit here and get this slid in where it just went out under the cable raceway even. All right, let me do this. I need Philip said we're going to disconnect our terminals here. See here. Yeah, I'm playing a bit of Russian roulette with those. But at the same time, there's only like the top hat panels and the door that's actually the clear clear panels for the acrylic, and so that is going to be a lot easier to replace because the two side panels are actually LED panels. Let me see here. I can't get this zip tie to go between side here. The rest of these panels are coming off. The rest of the skirts are coming off to give me the most room possible because I don't want to break them as I'm doing things. Let's see here. All right. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to these things were put in so close that I'm trying to either get in under the raceway and peel that up as well, or get in between the raceway with the zip tie.
Also, guys, if you can let me know if the music's too loud or too quiet, it's kind of hard to tell with the new software we're using.
See if I have a longer zip. Nope. Those are my long zip ties. The other.
There you go. That's what you needed.
That's what I needed. Okay, so we got
That poor ruler, though. That's gonna be annoying to clean.
aha!
Hey, magic.
Success! That is going to be a very fun, like James said, a very fun thing to clean. Now, we grab microfiber. See if we can get the rest of the VHB tape off. I would recommend, if anybody ever does that thin metal ruler method, wear a pair of gloves when you do that, because that is not comfortable at all. Yeah. OptiPacks, how you doing? OdiePacks. All right, let's see if we can get.
The issue with that done is I have a feeling it'll probably take off the letters too if you do that.
Which letters?
I mean, the numbers, I should say. It is a ruler.
Let's see here. Long fillet knife from the kitchen. Yeah, fillet knife would also work pretty well. This is where I'd actually want one of those paint scrapers with the blade on it. That would be really nice. But while we're waiting, did anybody do anything special for Mother's Day for anybody? Or with anybody?
I mean, I didn't even know it was Mother's Day till like yesterday. That's what you think.
All right, so we're starting to make some progress on this. You know, I don't think we're ever going to get it completely clean without getting some other solvents.
Not the first time I've corrected him on your name either, and he just keeps forgetting.
I just see the OTP and I want to put or the OTI and I want to put a P in there. Even when I tried to spell it, I tried to put a P in there. Actually, the funny thing is that while we celebrate Mother's Day nowadays as a celebration of mothers and things of that nature, it actually did not used to be that way. It used to actually be a Christian holiday where you would go back to your mother church and have a ceremony on that, because there are some denominations that did not have like main cathedrals and stuff like that, and so you would go back to your mother's church to pay homage, and it was Mother's Day. But then that turned into a celebration of mothers. Let's see here, Mike, you just went to the grocery store to pick up some meds. Yeah, meds are getting pretty pricey. Now, let's see here. For Mother's Day, let's see here. You can just say Odie. That's more easy. Okay. And then Mad Dog, for Mother's Day, you sat in the corner sulking and ordering parts to fix your 2.4. Oh. Now, here's the big question. I just went through all of that work to get the VHB tape off. Do I want to just VHB tape it back on? Because on here, thankfully I kept these in the order that they were. So the brown is our live, the blue is our neutral, and the orange and the black are our grounds. And then it looks like I'm actually going to need to cut off my terminals here, because I believe these are actually going to the main boards. And the main boards are splitting out power, but these should be 24 volt. I believe that let's see here. That's the main PCB. And that says 2 UMB. Let's find out where that cable goes, if we can. So 2 UMB. Give me a second here while I pull things out of here to give myself room. Let's see here. Penguin, what wattage is the PSU on? Is this so the new PSU is a 300 watt power supply. 275 of those watts is on the 24 volt, and 25 watts is on the 5 volt. Down under, I do not. It is a standard LDO motors. It is an LDO motors kit. So it's whatever wattage their beds normally are. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to follow the wiring to find out here. Need to get this. There we go. There's the back raceway off. Okay. So this cable goes to our CAN board. And that is our 2 UMB. And this one says to main PCB, which that one just goes, like it says, into the main PCB. So then into our bed here. And this is one of the downsides of not building it yourself, is you do have to sit here and figure these things out. Down under, no, we do not know the wattage of the bed. It's a standard LDO bed, because this is an LDO kit. I'm looking to see where things come out. I do have a drag chain here. I grab phone for a flashlight. Okay, the umbilical does in fact come up here. That goes there. All right, so we have 24 watts, but let me look up the LDO V0 kit here, and we're going to see what wattage they do it for the bed. Docs at ldomotors.com. Voron Hero Kit. Here.
Thanks for stopping in, Audie.
Let's see here. The build plate there is 24 volt, 100 watt. 24 volt, 100 watt. I'm just going through all iterations of this. So that's 60 watt, 60 watt, 60 watt. So yeah, down under, it is either a 60 or 100 watt. So either way, we should have the thermal headroom to do that. Okay, but I am going to need to take our cords and run them to the other side, because while on our original power supply, our line in and our line out were on the same side, on the new one, our line in is on one side and our outs are on the other. And then, yep, I'm going to need to cut off our ends.
I know it's a small printer, but that wiring looks like it's already a mess.
I'm going to need to cut off our ends because while the old one used screw terminals, the new one uses the screw down terminals. So we're going to want to put some ferrules on there and cut off the old ends. Let me go through here and kind of get these wires rerouted over to the other side. Yeah, that's going to have plenty of room. Now, the next question is, how much room do I have here? Because I go with this and we stick it right up against there. That needs to go at least here. So I'm going to need to rotate my pie possibly upside down so I can actually reach that USB-C port with the cord that I have. Because if I go to the C port where it is, you can see the cable comes pretty much just to there. So without doing a pigtail or a jumper, I will need to flip the pie over, which is no big deal. So let's go and cut. The zip tie for this wire just to give us as much slack as possible, because I can always put a zip tie back on there.
I mean, you can, but will you?
Okay. Have that. Slide that down. And let me see if I can see what gauge wire this is, because a lot of times they are written on the wire. If not, I'm going to have to sit here. Okay, good. It is 16 gauge. So, the new tool I get to use for this project is my new crimping tool. So, nice little ratcheting tool to sit here and get that nice, good crimp on the ferrule. And this particular kit is from Summerline, and your tool sits up here, but then down below, yes, it's all separated into different ferrules, and it comes with the kit, and it even tells you which ferrule to use for your wire. So in the case of this one, this being 16 gauge, I'm going to want to use the black ferrule that comes with this. What we're going to do is just cut off We're going to cut off our spade terminals. And then I'm going to need to grab my other wire strippers because the ones that I pulled out, small gauge wire. So yeah, what I'm having to do is grab my other wire strippers out and get those opened up finally, because the ones that I grabbed are for my very small gauge wires, and it does not go big enough to strip the 16 gauge wire. But I love these tiny ones because they'll go all on stranded wire. They'll go all the way down to 32 gauge and up to 22. But knowing that I might be having to do this because I bought a pair of strippers just for this studio, and these will do.
And those strippers must have been expensive if they're going to be here 24/7. Those strippers must have been expensive if they're going to be here 24/7.
Yeah. I just like having focus tools for things. Okay, so a little trick that works with thicker wire. When you get down to the thin wire like this, it doesn't always work, but this is an old electrician's trick. If you when you go to strip your wire, if you go at a 45-degree angle and strip and then rotate, it actually can help release that wire off of there. But let's see here. Am I missing chat? I don't see. Oh, there it goes. It didn't, for some reason, it stopped. I'm on live. So the other thing I like doing is I like kind of taking the ferrule and going down and marking about where the end is going to be. That way I can strip off that amount of wire. But like I said, go at a 45 and then rotate up. And that kind of helps break it where you're not fighting with the wire. The tool itself is kind of helping you get that initial sleeve off. 16 gauge, 45. Do that, and you can see it just slides right off. So if this wire was marked correct, then we put that in there. Our wire is almost to the end. Take our ferrule, make sure it's inserted all the way, put it into our crimper, give it a good crimp, and then what I always do is I grab it not by the tip but by the base and give it a pull. Yes.
Guys, I don't know if he's ever used ferrules before.
Oh, then again, they say you're not supposed to twist wires when you put them in wire nuts either.
Correct. So don't.
Then we're just going, crimping down, pulling and making sure we have a good connection. So now we have 2 ferrules done.
See, Mike understands. Move down the little label, or try to.
Pretty sure this is a heat shrink label, and they heat shrinked it pretty well on here. There we go. Right, so we got our next barrel in. Crimp that. Make sure we've got a good crimp. There we go. So we've got our main and our other crimped. Now comes the fun one, because on the particular USB power adapter I purchased, when they sit here and do it focus, they tin the ends already. I don't want to put a tinned in into my ferrule. Actually, I don't want to put tinned in into anything. I always want a fresh copper, because I do know that this wire on this one is copper further down. Let's see here. Get a check on. Howie, welcome on in. Yeah. If Mike, I know you do this for a living, so, but the other thing I'm going to do, we're just going to cut back some of the sheathing here. Miko Makes, how you doing? Now, you don't want to, like, if you're doing it with this method where you're using your wire strippers to score your sleeving, you don't want to put too much pressure, because you don't want to cut the cable underneath. This cable is it is a bit of a pain in the butt to get through this sheathing. Once you do, I tend to just bend it so it breaks free.
I've got to say, this desk has quickly become a right mess.
All right, now with these cables, I happen to know already that these are 28 gauge cables. I'm going to grab my smallest barrels that I have. And again, do the same thing I did last time of line them up. LTX, how you doing? Let's see here. It is a nice little V0. You know, there's a few people in the community that already knew I had it. I want to give a huge shout out to, you know, Tom and Havoc and Down Under Maker for helping me get the CAN bus of the side of this. setup because it is set up for CAN bus instead of USB. Next cable done. We're just gonna let's see here. Miko, no, I did not print the parts for this one. This is actually a V0 that I purchased already built from somebody. And so they originally had it set up on USB, and they added some mods on it. Like this actually has, from what I understand, a very coveted mod on it of the NeoPixel panels. And it has Picobilical already on there. Hate working with tiny wires sometimes.
You know, Gergman, I actually suggested he do that.
Do what? Well, I mean, Gergman, we might, one day we may do that, but this is not that day. Because believe it or not, a lot of the mods that are actually on here are what I would have put on here in the first place. The only thing that I would possibly do different is, eventually one of these days I want to make an F0, which is pretty much just a V0 with a flying gantry. Maybe one day, but okay. Cables. Picobilical is a umbilical cable, so it's one cable to the tool head for everything. All right, there we go. Finally got this in. We have that in. Oh, a little bit. Where did flush cutters go? Flush cut the end. Let's see here. Miko, that Micron is another one that I want to sit here and build. There's a whole bunch of printers I want to build. I'm running into one of the problems we all run into, and that is, hey, I got to save up the money to do it.
Then you start saving up that money, and you're like, well, I could buy this other mod for this other printer that I already have.
Yeah, so then it's, hey, look, I have this. Oh, I can upgrade this piece instead. Okay, so we have our ferrules on our USB. So now I get to sit here and figure out how much of this Mountain Dew I should drink. Yeah. So the ultimate question: did I VHB tape down the new one? Because unfortunately,
I mean, I don't know how else you would do it.
Yeah, that's the big problem, is I don't see how else I can get this thing to stay.
Unless you can print something that goes like in those channels to like push between it. I don't know.
So let's take some VHB tape here. let's go lengthwise. Yeah. I'm gonna go lengthwise.
No, maybe I'll start saving up for a Micron so he can build it for me. Gonna have to be purple, of course.
Oh, all these printers have two colors on them. So James,
Purple and more purple.
oh, you just want two different color purples?
Yeah.
We can actually do that with LDO filament. They have two different
know.
color purples. Okay. I'm going to drop our table back down so that way I can
No, he
sit
doesn't
back
have
down.
to finish. He doesn't have to finish the Voron before that. Have you met him?
Okay. Drop that down. Okay. Some of these tools out of the way.
Okay, I have no idea what a salad fork is. I feel like I've been told before what it is, but I don't know. Did I have a salad fork or a micron? Howie wants both.
Well, a micron is a small version of the 2.4.
That I got.
A salad fork is a small version of one called a trident. The difference between the two is
The Trident's the one that's like the V0.
like the V0 and the Prusa, where the bed is what goes up and down.
Okay.
Whereas the micron, the gantry, goes up and down. And the bed stays down at the bottom.
I feel like the bed moving is probably the easier of the two.
The trident has been known as the easier build. Okay. So
Oh, Miko, that would definitely be the case. I'd make sure we print the parts. I wouldn't buy printed parts for that.
yeah, at this point we have enough.
Wait.
We have enough what?
How much of it could we print with wood filament?
None at all, because they don't. Unless someone can correct me, I have not seen a wood-filled ABS. Typically that's PLA.
I mean, at least the skirts we could do in wood.
We could do the skirts in wood, yeah.
And the feet, you know.
But anything in the chamber could not be out of the PLA.
What about a metal filament? I don't know what.
Printing in metal is a dream of most people.
We have the means, we have the possibilities. We just gotta get the money to do so, and then we can do it.
Yeah, I don't have $10,000 sitting around for a metal printer. And that's on the low side.
Oh. I'm talking about the metal, filament, not like a full metal piece. That's not what I'm talking about. I know we don't got that kind of money.
Yeah, most of those are PLAs. And that we might be able to do for the skirts or holding the panels on, but not for the actual internal parts. Okay, so the VHP tape has been removed from that. And then we need to take these and rearrange a little bit.
Okay. Caleb's saying that Protopasta has some HTPLA metal. That might work. And according to John Doe, wood ABS is apparently a thing.
Well, John Doe, if you are in, I'm pretty sure you're in my Discord. If you can send me a link to that wood-filled ABS, you would make James's day.
Yes, Mike, I am saying that laser cutting your skirts is a great idea. Here's the fun thing, Gergman. Here's the fun thing.
There's our ground.
Pretty sure we have most of, not all the parts to finish the 2.4. He just wanted to troll you guys.
I will say, there is one piece that I'm waiting for on the 2.4. that did not show up in time for today's stream.
See, the whole reason that I'm actually invested in literally anything that he's doing is because that wood filament exists. So just, I'm right there with you on your love of wood filaments, both Down Under and Caleb.
Okay, give me a second here. Cutting off zip ties because these cables were designed specifically for the power supply that came with it, so I'm having to separate them so I can get that bit of extra length, actually reach the terminals that they need to go to.
So, Down Under, you say wood-filled ABS isn't very structural. Does that mean we couldn't use it for functional parts? Or just wouldn't be advisable to? If it's not advisable to, I kind of want to try. But if you can't, then there's no reason to try.
Okay. So we now have our live neutrals and grounds connected. Let's see here. Structural. Hey, Icon, how you doing? Here, 60-volt PSU fell out of your 2.4. You'll be fixing it this week, Down Under Maker. Hey, great stream. I'll be there if I can. Actually, I have the week off, so yeah. Icon, I do not know if I'm going to consider the tulip mod for this yet. Right now, I'm just working on getting the power supply replaced.
Education. What is it? What is that mod?
I haven't actually looked too much into the tulip mod.
Then how are you saying you're not going to do it if you don't know what it is?
I said I haven't considered doing it yet. I have to do research.
That is what you said, but also, that seems like a cop-out.
I have to do research. It is not a mod that I have looked into, and so I do not have an expertise on it, so I do not have a place really to comment on it.
I mean, to be fair, Gergman, if it does fail, and it has to be rebuilt, that's good content.
Yeah, if we get magic smoke, you guys are going to have fun. Okay. Okay, so with this, we have we're 24-volt negative. .24-volt positive. And then we're going to grab our other one, plug it into our next negative port for the 24-volt.
Right, fine. We probably won't do wood for the functional parts. But for the skirts, though, I have no question. That's what we're doing for the skirt. And the feet.
Okay, we've got our negative and positive in here. And then we're going to take our USB cord and at least get it hooked up to the power supply.
Hang on. Hold up. I have not considered that there is sparkly filament. I need a sparkly purple filament for this micron.
Cat, isn't it wonderful hearing the joys of someone discovering filaments and everything for the first time? I could say it's actually quite awesome to me hearing you get this excited about it, man.
You guys get my hopes up and then tell me that's also not a good idea.
James, we can do spark. Yeah, Polymaker does make some pretty good sparkly. Now, I did have some cables come undone, so I am going to double check my work. Make sure
Down
that
under.
they are proper.
How dare you? How dare you say sparkle isn't that exciting? I disagree. There's no way. There's zero possibility of it being underwhelming. Rainbow PLA.
Okay. We're good here.
Does Fabrico not sell a micron kit? Not seeing it anywhere.
All right, we are good there. So I'm going to try to sit here and figure out a way. See if I can rotate this, because this is our next nightmare to deal with. Is getting these oriented in a different manner. Unplug USB from our Pi, and finally unplug our UART. This way, down under, this will no longer be powered off of the main board over the GPIO pin.
And you know he's doing this completely and solely for you.
So what I'm going to do here, before we flip that over all the way, let me get this power supply kind of duck back down. What I'm going to do is this time, instead of going right up against the raceway, I'm going to give a little bit of a gap.
Well, it definitely sounds like this VHP tape isn't as strong as the last one, which is
I
good.
didn't put pressure on yet, but I need to make sure that I had these in, and the one was not in all the way, and I needed to make sure that I could make it around the corner, so when I had the skirts in, it was held on nice. Okay, those are all good now. Those cables are in. I'm going to take this one and feed it up into the back. Okay. We are going to rotate.
What's the CF core filament that Caleb was talking about?
Oh, the carbon fiber core. So
Carbon fiber. I do
originally,
want to print that, but I think that'd be a lot more money than I'm willing to spend because I know how expensive the carbon fiber filament is.
so originally the way that this Pi was situated is it was like this, and our USB port for the power was right up against the extrusion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it around 90 degrees because I do have a bit of extra slack on some of these cables. That way our USB ports are actually going to be on the top side, so I can actually reach the USB power in from the bottom. So let me undo that cable because that is for our CAN board. Slide that off to the side for now. This is for our screen, which we have plenty of slack there. What do you go to? Ah, that is our cord that is connecting the main board to our Pi. Going to run that underneath the Bowden tube. Oh, chair. Now, let's see here. Icon, I did not build this, but I do not believe this has a runout sensor on it. I was discovering any kind of mods and everything that were on this, partially as I was doing CAN bus and partially as I'm opening this up. Okay. In order to do this, we are actually going to need to remove the printed DIN rail. We're going to need to move it down.
So, Miko, would you print those filaments in the Core 1 Plus, you think? You know, and have them, you know, strong layer adhesion?
Okay. Hey, I'm sitting here going through. Let's see here. Yeah, the big thing I'm going to need if we're going to print glass fiber or carbon fiber filaments is we need that hard nozzle. Which I might be able to pick up this week. Okay, so I've removed the old one, and what we're going to do connect our DIN rail on here, get a piece of our VHP tape and move that Raspberry Pi a bit further down. So that way the USB power cord will reach it. Okay. It's been moved down here. Okay, so you make sure that I have get the USB cord plugged in there. Looks like about right there should be good. Now it's going to be how much space do I need to move the other DIN rail up to get the CAN board. To fit in so there.
What link you talking about, Caleb?
Hey. I am just working on getting this VHP tape up, and we're gonna put some more VHP tape so I can move this CAN board up and get it in a more proper place for cabling. Everything fits in here. If anyone here has not modded a printer before, it seems that that is the biggest thing. It's, hey, you had everything all set in place. Cool, move it. Because now that you added this one thing in here, nothing else fits. First off, we're going to cut off this little UART cable here because I do not need this anymore. So that is no longer needed. Okay, rerouting power here. looking like. We need to get that routed just there. Go just in there, right next to the headphone jack. That will give me the space I need to get that on. So let's cut ourselves another small piece. Yep. Miko, I am probably one of the newest people into this field. I do not claim to be an expert at all, and I'm learning things, and that's kind of what I wanted to show. I wanted to show, the journey of someone new to here, that it's nothing to be afraid of. There's a vast community out here that can give help, and if you have just a slight bit of mechanical aptitude, you can get this stuff done. See here, we're going to get this put in right there. Okay. That's in there now. We're going to grab our USB cables. Get these plugged in. Nightmare, I think, is going to be getting an Ethernet cable plugged back in, because I did not do this over Wi-Fi. I do prefer wired cables, hence the reason we have a switch back there. Okay, so we now have pop this out. This build is very, very tight. Get things in on. And I'm going to need to go even further down with our cables. Let's again pop off our boards.
Even further beyond, you say?
Yep. To infinity and beyond. Just trying to route this cable underneath the ones that are already there. This is our last USB cable, and that is for our display. The question is, if I do it that way, yes, that should most certainly doors over there. We're gonna need a bit more. Okay, that should do. Okay, I'm popping pieces back in. Grab our other printed DIN rail. Oh, that time it stayed onto this thing. Get that in there. Get a small piece of VHB. See here. Fadus has a nice GF filament. Comes in a really nice purple. My Linux is showing. My Linux is always showing. I mean, what would you do if you didn't show off your Linux? Yeah. Unfortunately, right now, I do not have a heatsink for this. I will be heading to a micro center this week where I can go pick one up. So I get to sit here and go to Fabrico. I get to go to micro center. So pretty much I get to empty my wallet this week because I'm going to all the toy stores. Okay. Ugh. Okay, so I'm just trying to get this high in here where the USB cables clear our stepper motor. You guys can't really see that, can you? I was just trying to get these USB cables to clear the stepper motor because I've actually got 3 in here. I've got one for the screen. I've got one to go to the MCU, and then one comes over to our CAN bus board. We're gonna hit that. Stick down there, so we have all of our boards down. Next thing to do is take our power cord and get that shoved into the little raceway. Okay, so I'm sitting here just fighting with the cable raceway because all these things are nice to make your cabling look cleaner. They can and do present problems sometimes of getting some of the wider gauge cable to cooperate and go inside. We got that in there. This cable and feed that in there. So okay, now can I get there we go. That is on. We are all connected there now. So let's get our skirts back on. Right, I will say this is kind of an ingenious thing where they do capture the screws on the V0, where they do like a little cutout to hold the screw in there. And then you take that and use that as your holder. Okay, so that's our first piece. Now we're going to get our second. Let's see here. You know, you're right about that, John Doe. And I did not see that. So we will sit here. Once I get the skirts back in, we'll mess around with that some more. Because, yeah, having those pogo pins or the GPIO pins touching the extrusion is not going to make for a fun time. We're just tightening this down, or I'm trying to at least. There we go. Okay, so now I'm working on the front ones. I need for this. Yeah, give me back my driver. I need to pull you out from under there. Going to get tightened in. All right, that's good. The screen is next. Okay. I'm just working on getting these lined up. Thank God the guy who built this originally actually used the 3D printed capture pieces for the nuts, because otherwise this would have been a nightmare. And then we've got one last skirt over here. Nope, I gotta loosen up these screws. There we go. Now it's all the way over. Okay, let me check chat here. Red Fox, how you doing? Welcome on in. So, John Doe, you are correct. They actually, when I looked at it, it does look like they are touching the extrusion. So I am going to have to go back and readjust that particular piece. Right now, I get a fight with this skirt. There we go. me back my driver. Okay, so I am almost done with these skirts here. And then we get to go on to the point, well, we're going to make sure that that those GPIO pins, we reposition that pi so it's not touching the extrusion. And then after that, we get to go to the point where you guys get across your fingers and hope to see magic smoke, and I get across my fingers and hope that there's not magic smoke. And while I know you guys actually don't want magic smoke to come from your fellow makers,
Yes, they do. Who are you kidding?
project, we all have that bit of Schadenfreude in us, the happiness at the misfortune of others, that we secretly want to see it. Okay, so our skirts are back on. Let's see here. Caleb, thank you. Okay. If it smokes, it gets raveled off. No, if it smokes, we just replace parts. Okay, so let me take first, plug our screen back in. Now we're going to flip this back. And John Doe, thank you for the call out on that, because that is a good catch. There we go. Now I know those are not touching our extrusion. So I am going to eventually have to reprint this skirt, because I'm going to need to put a keystone or something in there so I can fit our Ethernet cable up in here. But in the meantime, I am from the computer world where you do not button up anything until you verify it works. So, plug our Ethernet in. Plug our power in. All right, so what I've done is I've taken it to the back here. That's where my Ethernet cord and my power cord is. And we are going to, I've got it turned up on its back. And we're going to power this thing on. So in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Looks like we have power to the Pi, power to the main board, power to the CAN board. Not smelling anything. Ethernet still has light. So let me go and find out what the IP address of that thing is, and we are going to see if we can get Clipper. Right? Let's see here. You demand we to smell plastic being put down. All right, let me pull this up. If I'm correct. We have Clipper. We are up and running. We have no errors. So we take rotate up and let me see if you guys, I don't know if you guys can be able to see it. Let me try turning that way. Those are those NeoPixel panels on the side. They're on each side. And so, you know, as it does certain things, those NeoPixel panels will change colors to let you know, hey, I'm heating up, or hey, you know, I've completed the print, or hey, I'm in the homing process. Let me hit home all. So the bed is homing. We successfully homed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set our extruder. Heat that up to 170 because I do have some filament that was still in there. So I'm going to tell it to retract so we can get that out of there.
I would love to print wood filament, but that would require us to A, have it, and B, have a nozzle for it.
Waiting on this oven to heat up. We're getting there. And I think I'm going to need to pop off our boat and pull the filament out the other way. Because the filament did break off in the Bowden tube, but now
You guys keep teasing me with all of these special filaments. You don't tell me what brand or anything. I can't buy them if I don't know where to buy them, or where to look to where to buy them. I don't want to buy some filament that's terrible. Terrible.
There we go. Zombos, this one does not have beacon on. I am waiting on one more part. And next week, we're going to be working on that bad boy.
We've only been live for 2 hours.
Hmm?
We've only been live for 2 hours. We could start on the 2.0.
But what we're going to be doing on that one is we have another power supply to replace in it. So I'm going to replace the one that came with, or possibly going to replace the one that came with it with that one. I'm going to have to check wattages and all that. But I'm pretty sure this one will be able to go in there. And with that, I do have the low profile so I can actually mount it to the DIN rail. We have a brand new tool head board. We have an EBB 36 Gen 2 that we're going to be doing. And we're going to be taking this and converting that to CAN. Because I was doing some research and everything, and I've been talking to people, and the LDO board in there, the Leviathan, has CAN built into it. So I can take the umbilical that goes on this and plug that right into the CAN port and get that running that way. And yeah, Zombo, so, this is my first time using this board, and I can say, while removing the old power supply was a pain in the butt in that V0, hooking it back up and getting these things connected was actually nice. I actually do like the ferrule connectors. And hey, I finally got a BQ ducky. We got some more stickers to go onto our sticker board. So let's get these things put back in. But the board itself was actually quite easy to sit here and get connected. So Caleb, what we'll do is let me go over some more parts that we have for this. So give me a second here. So I have 3 new fans, as well as a PG7 gland. And back here, I have some more parts. We have an Orbiter V2.5.
Yeah, Caleb, this is for the 2.4, not the V0.
Yep. We have the Orbiter filament sensor, because I can say, I haven't done much research on this, but after working with the Prusa and having that filament sensor to where it can sense the load and unload and everything, that has been actually a great little thing. I sat here and ran out of one spool of filament. It stopped the print automatically for me and let me unload the filament and load it up, and just kept going on it. And it was seamless. But we have a Vitali CNC carriage. And Caleb, to answer your question, we do have a Cartographer V4. So we're going to be going CAN bus from this to the toolhead back to the Leviathan. I've been busy. I've got skirts printed out and all of our accessory pieces in the got our accessories all printed out and ready to go. And James can tell you this is a miracle. James can tell you this is a miracle. Me organizing like that and having different buckets for things. He's seen the way that I work, and me doing an organization of any kind is amazing. But now I have a backup power supply. I have a long trip ahead of me tomorrow. I get to sit here and drive 6 hours one way just to go see my parents. And for all those of you that don't live in the US, that is within one state in the US. I am driving 6 hours and still not leaving the state. Take our little printed cover and put that back on here because that's a nice thing to keep around. But yep, no more powering the pie through GPIO. Down under, I wish I could have more ducts. Unfortunately, the BTT parts that came in the LDO kit did not come with ducts for the 2.4. So this is actually my first BQ or BTT duct. I'm happy on that. What we're going to do here now, he's going to sit on top of the micro.
Down under, you're welcome for switching that over to a new power supply for you. It was only for you, and you're the only reason.
He's actually not lying, Down under. You going over and everything. Yeah. Yeah, your states are huge. But I can do that here in the US too. But but Down under, this was done for you because you were sitting here and I wanted to show people how easy it is to just, hey, don't power that pie off of these. You can pick up a power supply that has the 24 volt and the 5 volt already in one power supply. LDO makes that, or something I picked up just in case that wouldn't work. Pick up a 5 volt power supply. This just runs off of your main. In that V0, I wouldn't have had room to put this. That I had to go with this. But, if you're doing something a bit more powerful like a 2.4 and, you're running higher wattage bed heater or something, or, an all-wheel drive system, so the LDO compact might not work. Picking up a little 5 volt power supply on AliExpress can sit here and get that done for you. So, and again, these little USB pigtails for powering the pie. I think I got 5 of these for like $1 on AliExpress. So, it's not that, and that was shipped and everything. Like, there was free shipping and all that. It was kind of crazy. But, so, upgrading it so that way, you are running off of a proper power supply to that pie. It's getting the voltage it wants. Can sit here and can help because, a slight power interruption can sit here and, hey, it might sit here and, oh, I don't have enough power. I'm gonna turn off the Wi-Fi. That way the critical systems can stay running. Well, it turns off the Wi-Fi, all of a sudden your clipper screen goes bad and now you can't see it. So, or, even worse thing, hey, it's in the middle of the writing, it doesn't get enough power, and all of a sudden something corrupts, or you pull too much power through there because the Raspberry Pi wants more power, and you fry your main board. So it's always something. If you can do it, I do recommend it. Let's see here. Caleb, it's not quite that long for me, but you live you live up there. You have to go around the bend. Let's see here. John Doe, believe it or not, it actually does print. Where did my... Give me a second here. I want to make sure that I have... I do not want to step on it. There it is. Wanted to make sure I got my razor blade back into my knife here. But I don't have a profile set up on it, but let's see here. First, let's get it shut down so I can get all the panels back onto it. Pull this back up. So yeah, we can sit here and do a bit more work on this for you guys. Sounds like you guys want to see a bit more on this. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys want to go home, we can stop the stream, but I don't mind doing a bit more for you guys. All right. So I'm not going to put the back panel back on here yet, because like I said, right now I run this thing off of Ethernet and my only access is up there, so I need to make sure that I have access to that Ethernet port. But we can at least get the spool holder on there. That way I can do it, so I can put filament on there for you guys. And we can try getting an ASA print out of this. I have not tried ASA on here yet. I have done PLA only. But now that we've got the spool holder on there, let's try printing some ASA. Kenneth, how you doing? Okay, we've got our spool holder on. We're going to try grabbing some of our yellow ASA new maker filament. I think I'm going to want to raise the spool holder up a bit because bit too close to our Bowden tube. Clips. Pour this on. Let's see here. All right, we've reconnected. Take and raise our hot end temperature up. And extrude a bit until I start seeing. There we go. And extrude a bit more because the last thing I printed in there was PLA. I want to make sure we get rid of all of that old PLA that's in there. Still seeing it there. That is looking a lot better. That's looking like the color we want. All this thing to cool down. Now I have not really done any tuning. On this printer yet. So I'm not sure if the temperatures and everything will be correct, but I'm just going to use a standard generic say profile. Let me go ahead and open up Orca Slicer. Caleb, I am not going to Midwest rep wrap. I'm going to we're planning on going out to 3D Printopia, but do not have a plan for birth at this point. What I've got to do here is let me import the V0 I had from the old version of Orca. Compare. V0. Let's go and add let's add a 3D benching. I'm going to tell this generic ASA. Slice our plate and see how long that's going to take.
All right, so if I do end up getting this micron, which hotted should I get? There's the TZ V6, Dragon Standard Flow, and Dragon High Flow are the ones I can get from FormBot.
So Clipper. And that 2.4.210. Okay, that is working correctly. Good. Slice the plate. We are going to rotate this, and since we're doing ASA, I'm going to close the door on us. We're going to upload and print. So this is now going and raising our temps. Let's see how this goes. Let me slide over here. And tell me, guys, if you can't hear me, because I am still working on learning the limitations of the new mic and where it can pick me up and everything, but I also want to make sure so that you guys Can see that printer back there. Let's see here. Eventually, one of these days, I am going to get a hot end that is not a Revo, because both of these have a Revo in. Not sure which one I'm going to do, whether it's a Phaetus Dragon or something else, because from what I've seen, the Phaetus Dragon mounting is actually similar to the Revo, but it uses a V6 hot end, V6 nozzle. Waiting for the bed to come up to temp. So we're waiting for the bed to come up to temp here. This will be the first time I print anything on this thing that needs to be enclosed. I just did some Sunlu PLA that came with it. In fact, while we're waiting for that to heat up, I will be right back. Let me get some of the prints that came off of it.
And of course, by this point, you guys know that I really want to be able to print that very abrasive stuff. That's where the fun of it is for me. I don't care about the standard plastics. I want the special stuff.
Okay, so this is a little dinosaur that's printed out of PLA. I printed this for my partner. This is actually the first print that I got off of that printer. And then this is after I converted it over to CAN bus. This one I actually found on printables. The scaling is turned off if you download the STL, so you have to adjust the scaling. But this is actually a CT scan of a trilobite fossil that I went and printed. So those came out pretty well. Looks like the bed is getting close there to getting up to temp. Right back.
Yep, I go by James. James Cube, James for short. I'm just here for the witty commentary. Is it good witty commentary? Probably not. But that's okay. I'm still here for it.
Ugh.
Very true. My job is specifically to upset Penguin.
Oh, he does very good in his job.
I mean,
He's just
gaslighting's the fun part.
he's here to do two things. Switch scenes, or three things. Switch scenes, make sure that system and the audio is working, and annoy me. That is what he does. Down Under, I agree. And once I get multicolor going on any of these, I'm going to reprint that as for that like grayish brown fossil like rock color, and then a bit of a gray stonish color for the trilobite. So LTX, this was me really getting that's my first printer that's really my first FDM printer that's really printing reliably. And so I was getting used to testing things out and getting it to tuning in a filament and everything. I found out like this new maker ASA says, like, hey, its maximum temperature should be 260. Well, I found out 270 is actually the temperature I want to print on that Prusa. Sat here and went for a while, trying to print directly on the plate. Found out I did need to get some glue stick to get the Prusa to stick to both the textured and the smooth plate.
See, Mad Dog, you are absolutely correct. I do only get 1 out of 3 of those right. But I will never tell you which one. Because if I'm doing my job right, you should never know which one of the 3 I get right.
All right, well, the bed has heated up, so now we are heating up the hot end. See how this does, and once this heats up, we should have about a 45-minute benchy. Because this is not a speed benchy, this is just the default benchy that's in Orca Slicer. But we may sit here and hook it up. So yeah, I don't know what it is. If I don't have things tuned in right or what yet, but I have tried 3 different brands on this Prusa. One was a 3D Hoger ASA or ABS. Another was Ambrosia ASA. Then Newmaker ASA. The only one I've gotten to stick reliably without having to use glue was the Prusament PLA. That one, there was no problem, but ABS and ASA, I needed to use glue to get it to stick. But you can see there, you saw kind of the panels doing their thing. Doing our prime line. Take a look at this first layer here. Gonna see, but I do not think the default profile for this filament Orca is going to work. but we'll see how it goes. Looks like I might need to do some tuning on this. Like I said, the only thing this thing is printed is PLA. So I don't have a tuned profile or anything for ABS or ASA on this printer. But I will say, these little, I hope somebody brings back these NeoPixel panels, because they do look cool and they are fun to have. I would love giant ones in here, but I've looked up the original maker of these NeoPixel panels, made it so you can go to oh god, I'm brain farting on the company. PCBWay, and have them make the PCBs and everything for you. And buying them individually, they are kind of ridiculous for what they are, to buy them individually. So hopefully someone sits here and can come up with something. That is, we're going to go ahead and pause that, because I can already see that squish was not good. So I'm going to need to give this a bit more of a tune, because it already, oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely need to tune this. If you take a look at this, that's the way the bottom looked. Focus. And that squish was not good. So I also might have, I can see it was still squirting out some of the PLA, but it also might be that the filament's a bit wet. But yeah, that started peeling up immediately. So I'm going to need to do some tuning, but plastic came out. It's working. It may not be, we may not have a successful print out of it yet, or a successful print from ABS and ASA, but the fact is, we got a print coming out of it. Oh yeah, my filament's wet. I can see already where it was bulging and popping. So I've got to dehydrate that filament again. Killa, how you doing? You're coming in right here near the end. We got a V0 up and printing. Well, printing, it is extruding plastic, but it needs some tuning. But we just, for those that are coming here at the end, we replaced the default LDO power supply that comes with the LDO V0 with their compact power supplies. And if there are people that have not seen one of these before, it's through the power of buying two of them, this is a standard, V0 power supply. That's the compact. It's like 2/3 the size of the power supply, but still does 275 volts on the 24 volt, or 275 watts on the 24 volt, 25 watt on the 5 volt. The one that came with the printer, let's see here, 24 volts and 8 amps. Not much at all. Yeah. pretty much it's a 200-watt power supply that came with it. So upgraded the power output that this thing can do. That's what we're going to look. We're going to find that out. Yep, it is a 200-watt Morrison that came with it. So, got a little bit more power, headroom for the V0, and made it so that we took a pigtail, a USB-C pigtail, so we could run 5 volts directly to our Pi instead of running off the GPIO pin. Killa, it is Mother's Day, so go ahead and talk to your mom. That's it. Moms always love when we talk to them. I know my mom is like, just a phone call makes her day. So it's nice. This new space is turning out nice.
We need some lights for that back wall.
Yeah, I've got to get a few more lights.
I'm talking about like LED panels and such.
Yeah,
make it look fancy.
But other than that, I've had some people that have been here a while. How has the new mic sounded? Let's get a shout out in the chat. Did it sound good through the stream? Is there things we can improve?
I will say Penguin needs to get a little bit better about where they can be and.
Yep, I'm still learning
talking into it, but it's new year day, so it takes time.
I am learning the limitations of the new mic. But hopefully with this new mic, you're not hearing that guy echo anymore.
That is the main goal. We'll also say you got to clean up those back desks here at some point.
Eventually.
It's a little messy back there.
Eventually. So one of the
Down under, I will fight you.
The funny thing is we kind of did have a lav mic before.
It was nothing but a pain in my butt. Yeah, that's the goal, Red Fox, for sure.
Red Fox, believe it or not, I've already started it. I have my blocking for where I need to sit already on this desk. Yeah, we are working that. Oh, so your voice is better too, so sounds like overall we're good. But yeah, eventually the plan, I want to get, once we get this up and printing, I'm going to put a multi-board back there on that wall. And because now that they have the multi-bin system, having that to where I can sit here and be like, hey, look, this is my M3x8 socket head drawer, would be nice. Just be able to reach back there.
Look at all that space back there.
Yeah, there's plenty of space up there to do.
We do have that down under. I still have it. Like I said,
Yeah,
pain in the butt.
I mean, this was. Yeah, we had the DJI mic too, not the mini, the actual full mic. And for me, we actually had the standalone lavalier to come up and get right here. We started off with just the mic 2, kind of clipped to my shirt. Then we went to the lavalier mic. Now we're on an actual shotgun mic.
So for anyone who actually cares, the reason it's an issue is because it's wireless. So it always picks me up no matter what types of filters or gates or anything that I do on it, just because that's the nature of that mic. It's omnidirectional. However, with it picking me up and it being wireless, the delay between that mic and any other mic that I use, whether it be the second DJI mic or a wired mic, doesn't matter, will be a different latency. So it will sound like I have an echo, which if you go back to older streams, I do have an echo, and that's exactly why.
So James Killer wants to know what shotgun mic we got.
It is a Rode NTG4, not the Plus because we're not taking it out and about, so I didn't need the battery. It is just a regular NTG4.
Yeah. This is the guy that knows the audio.
In fact, I might even be able to show you our little setup up there. Give me 1 second here. I might reveal our terrible wire management, but you know, that's all right.
It's rigging. Rigging's always terrible. Yeah, well, you guys want to see behind the scenes a little bit?
Yeah, the echoes because I'm talking a bit loud. That's on me.
Yeah, we still have to worry about there a bit of an echo. We're working on a solution for that too, but you guys are going to get to see behind the scenes a little bit.
Obviously, it's going to be super bright because that's where the lights are, but you know. We try to be fancy. I like gear. Gear is fun. Gear is my 3D printers, so.
Killa, I can say if you can find a James, it does help with the streams. You know, having someone keep track of which cameras are pointing what and getting audio set up.
Again, I know when I'm talking a bit louder myself, there is still a bit of an echo. I just haven't had enough time to really play with it to fix that, to make it so that I can talk louder. But if I just talk quieter, it's fine for now until I get it all set up completely properly. It just takes time.
Like, to give you guys an idea, we literally just set this up this morning. So he's had, 4 hours to play with it before stream?
And like Miko said, it doesn't help that the walls are freaking concrete all the way around.
Yeah.
Takes time, takes money. We're getting there. This, I think, is going to be a better overall solution for us than the labs were. Again, labs are great, and I do really love labs. Again, it's just because of the nature of them being omnidirectional, and it's being almost impossible to find a good, completely wired lavalier mic. Just doesn't work out for us, for how we have to exist in this space.
That, I'm a fat guy and I like to sit in a chair, and I could see myself with a wired lavalier mic just tangling up in the chair and then making James cry.
Oh no, Miko, I know. I appreciate it. I'm just explaining because it's stuff I care about. Honestly, the echo isn't actually from
it's not
me being in the room.
It's not a reverb echo. It's him being picked up by both mics at once.
Right, and because of the way that I have the mics, it's going to two different interfaces right now because I don't have one interface that can do two mics well. If it was in one interface, it wouldn't be as much of an issue me being picked up by two mics, but because it's two interfaces, the latencies are different, yada yada yada.
We are sorely waiting on the Go XLR Pro or the Elgato XLR Pro, Wave XLR Pro to come out. Yeah.
Now, down under, you are absolutely correct. Some foam in the corners and everything would absolutely help in general. You are not wrong at all on that. Just that's not the biggest issue at the moment, comparatively.
Yeah, Caleb sure does make a good lav mic. Sennheiser makes a good lav mic. It's just, even on the used market, those things go for like $300-400. And those are used and older technology. Yeah.
Again, this is the stuff I
Down
care
Under, projects in Dad's Garage that have all been in here.
This is this equipment stuff is my 3D printing for you guys.
But those of us that do this 3D print streaming, we take the already expensive hobby of 3D printing and make it more expensive by streaming. Because behind the scenes, video equipment is not cheap at all. Like, I think the cheapest thing on the setup here, what? Capture card? Well, like, yeah, I think the capture card might be the cheapest thing, and that was, yeah, the Camlink capture card for the camera was like the cheapest thing, and I think that's still like $100.
Honestly, John Doe, I think that is something we're gonna do once we get the Voron up and running. I just, want the bigger, print volume of the Voron to do that.
Yep. So once we, we're gonna be on.
So Miko, since you brought that up, sorry, I'll keep interrupting you. Shut up. But since you brought that up, I do actually have a Focusrite Scarlett. The issue is I really want to use Wave XLR software, which I'm using now since we got the new mic. And the Wave XLR software doesn't support the Focusrite Scarlett as 2 inputs. So it only shows up as 1, even though it has the, the 2 XLR inputs. Can't do it that way. That's a pain in the butt. So right now, like I said, I have it on 2 separate interfaces. I have one on the Stream Deck and then one actually going into the Focusrite Scarlett.
Killer. Okay, you got me. Cheapest thing was the Logitech wireless keyboard and mouse. That's like $20. But I don't consider that part of the streaming setup. I consider that part of the. Yeah, so I mean, once you have the printers and you're doing mods and everything on them, the cost can go a bit. But like this initial thing, like, I mean, right behind me, I think it's $24 or it was like $3,000 in printers. So yeah.
Miko, I was looking into something like Reaper. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to. We'll see here. Again, all new mic, got it today, so still haven't decided exactly how it's going to end up for the long term, but we'll see.
We get to have fun. I sit here and have fun building stuff and things like that. I kid you not, this guy will sit here for hours just sitting here tweaking a single setting because it just, it's not quite right. Like, he spent like 2 hours just going da 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 today into a mic just to listen for that echo and try and do it. Yeah, Killa, I'm still in those rookie numbers. Because the resin printer back there and the ender back there, I didn't even put into that cost because those things are inexpensive. I think that's $300 total right there between those two. But yeah, some of the hidden costs that you don't hear streamers talk about all the time. Like, that's not even getting into, like, I know Hillid actually does like a lot of actual separate videos, and you get in some good video editing software, and that's not cheap either. But we enjoy doing it. It's fun, and I enjoy interacting with you guys. Yeah, I mean, like, if I want to get the index, if I have until the end of the year to buy it because since I bought this printer this year, I get a discount on it, but that's still going to be $800 to put index on that thing. So yeah, the prices add up. Yeah, Miko, sound tuning is definitely an art, because what sounds perfect to me as well might sound terrible to him, and vice versa, because everybody's ears are different. It's trying to find that balance. But all right, well, I'm gonna do some tuning probably offline on the V0 because I don't think you guys want to sit here and see me go, okay, let's adjust this parameter, print something. Oh no, that didn't stick. Start over, adjust something else.
And to be fair, even if you guys do want to see that, no.
He'll sit there for hours doing that with the mics, but he doesn't want to see it with the 3D printer. Yeah, all of a sudden feedback comes to the mic because you adjusted something. It's like, oh, well, actually, I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, we're working on another situation. Pretty soon you're going to see me with headphones. But we just got to get the right pair. But, you know, with that, it has been about, we're hitting that 3-hour mark. So, you know, I'd say we had a pretty good thing. We got the power supply swapped out in here. And let me turn this real quick so you guys can kind of see this panel. Those panels is just a 4x4 grid of neopixels in there, and they're actually a bit thicker than the plexi that comes with it, so it does do a bit better job of insulating. And I wish that the project had kept going, but I guess either there wasn't enough demand for it or it's just too expensive. We might have. Yep, I think we're gonna have a guest help us sign off. Let me see. Yep, we're gonna get a guest here. We have a guest to help us sign off. I can actually hold her now. I don't have to worry about her covering up the mic. Yep, so this is River. So let's see here. Sanitizing your 2.4 config files. Yeah, down under. I've seen some of your config file. I think it was about time for a spring cleaning on that one. But with that, you know, I've been Penguin Maker. The mysterious voice has been James Q. And I'll sit here and say, hey, go make something awesome.